Hello, everybody. Welcome to That Girl Casey Media. Today, we are doing something new for the first time. I'm doing an interview and speaking to a very smart, headstrong gentleman who has a message that I believe everybody in the world needs to hear. Okay. And his name is Che. Che, won't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
How you doing, Casey? Thank you for having me on. I'm on. I didn't know I was the first guest on this show, so that's like, oh no! Now I gotta like. You didn't tell me that part.
I just threw the pressure on right now. It's all.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, no, it's cool, man. I'm the host of the No Spoon podcast. You can check that out anywhere that you listen to podcasts: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, all the places. I'm also a contributor on Scoon TV. I do a lot of writing for him. Been doing it for a minute there. And I'm also have a nonprofit organization called the nonprofit organization is called Rebuilding Cali Alliance. And through there, I run a program that's called Solid Reuniting with their children with their fathers. It's basically a reentry program for guys that are just getting out of prison. And we're trying to get them right. It's just in the pilot stages right now. It's an 8-week course. Just getting them out of that victim mindset, getting them out of that woe is me, and getting them back out here and being conquerors like we're supposed to be. That's what it's about. So right. Yeah, that's what I'll be doing. Other than that, you can catch me on any places, platforms. I'm gonna launch a YouTube channel. I've been trying to do that for a minute now, but that's gonna happen probably this week. So
awesome. I think you should. So that's why I wanted to talk to you. So we obviously, me and Che had connected before, coming on camera together. And when I talked to him, because he reached out because he's trying to get his message to as many people as possible. And when I talked to him, I was so impressed with you because your message, I'm like, wow, like, tell us a little bit about your message.
I mean, I speak on everything: politics, social issues, culture issues. We can get into economics. We can get into anything, but mainly my thing is right now, like culture. Culture is important because right now I think that's the biggest issue. Like we can't, it's like a lot of this message falls on deaf ears because the people have been conditioned to be dependent and to be pointing fingers and looking for somebody to come and save them. And it just so happens that conveniently that savior that fills that vacuum is the people in charge: government, corporatists, the corporatocracy that we see, the elites, all that stuff that you see. It's not that whole global conspiracy of a globalist economy, a globalist government, all this stuff, globalism basically is true. I mean, they are doing it. So, but there's only one way that it can get done, is that if the people, as on an individual level, if you accept the fact that you need a savior and you need somebody to come and save you, and you can't stand on your own. And a little bit about like I spent. I was 20 years old and I got locked up, and I did 15 years inside, California prisons. And it was through there, man. Like I went through the whole gauntlet of educating myself in the whole revolutionary structure of Marxism and all that, communism. And I was really bent on the way. I mean, that's why the name Che comes from Che Guevara, which is, somebody that I looked up to at the time. So, I kept it because of the brother that gave me that nickname. I still have a lot of love and respect for him. And, he's since changed a lot of his views, but like I still respected the fact how, I just feel like you got to have Che's on this side, you know what I'm saying? Because he was relentless.
Yep.
And we gotta be relentless, especially what they doing.
That's so true. And that's why I wanted to have you on. I was like excited because listening to you speak, there's the victimhood mentality is so easy for everybody to latch on to. You are a person who has real life experiences, right? And so sometimes, we see white people say like, you can attain the American dream, right? And people will be like, oh, he doesn't know my struggle, or, they'll say that. And like, you just say that, but you don't know what I've been through. And I want to always put a megaphone to voices of people who have, not that you're just a struggle, but have a life story, and is saying, yo, we can beat the mindset of victimhood and make something of ourselves. And this is what I hear you saying. And then when I was listening to your last podcast about hard times make strong men, mm-hmm. I was about to, so, full transparency, I work at a prison. I'm a prison nurse. Yeah. I wanted to run out there with the speaker and be like, y'all need to be listening to this right now. Like, people need to hear this like they do. And mm-hmm. and then it's cool too that you said that you started off in like the Marxism, right? And I mm-hmm. feel like that's where a lot of people start. It's like, I feel like a lot of people start with some sort of structure where they asking questions and trying to figure something out, but then a lot of times it goes past, the Marxism or whatever. Thomas Sowell said the same thing happened to him. He was a Marxist first until he started working for the government, and he was like, oh no, that's not gonna work.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's really cool. And then also too, you speaking like on the culture, you saying you speak about politics, economics, stuff like that. There's not enough minorities, or, I hate using the word minorities. There's not enough like young kids who are, multicultural, who speak about things like that, who are involved in politics, or even you having your nonprofit organization. That's a civic duty, and I feel like we don't talk about civic duties enough, especially like in the Black community. I just really feel like we don't talk about it enough, so that's really cool that you're doing that. So what made you like decide to do that, or at what point did you feel like I'm ready to share what I've learned, or with other people? Or
I mean, to be honest, like I never had really the intention of doing a podcast or doing stuff like this right here. Like this has never been something that I wanted to do, because it just wasn't me. Like I just was like, nah, I'd rather like be out there doing something. But once I realized, after you've been gone for so long, you don't really know anybody anymore. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how do I try to get my foot in the door to actually try to do things? Well, I have to start to like speak on issues and start to put my, give my 2 cents to certain things. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of where that all came from. I didn't have no intention of doing a podcast. And so, but it has opened up so many doors for me. And the real things that I want to do is like what I'm doing now with the organization and talking to people and being able to sit here and really work with these dudes and sit down and talk to them about these, things that like I've been through these programs. You know what I mean? Like I went through that. I did a program after I came home, as far as like in a halfway house where they force you to go to AA, NA, all that type of meetings and stuff like that. And I just started really like, at that time I was already kind of understanding how the game worked. Like this is an industry. Like people is trying to make money off this. People is trying to, they look at this as careers. And one thing I noticed is like, a lot of these people don't really have no intention of getting you into a better place, because you're their money. You know what I mean? Like you are what makes them money. So if you don't have people constantly going in and out, then there's no reason for you to exist. And so that's one thing I always sit there and I talk. Like when I have our first class, I sit there and I told the dudes, I said, I don't want to do this forever. I don't want to be it. See, because like, you see guys like activists like Shaun King, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, DeRay, all these type of people, like they need racism. They need these problems. And if there isn't any problems, they will create these problems. See, my thing is like this, like you were speaking on earlier, saying, everybody has this victim mentality, or everybody has this kind of mentality, the systemic issues. And I'm not going to sit here and say that there aren't systemic issues. I believe that there are systemic issues. There are issues, things that need to be fixed. Mm-hmm. But like, where am I at right now? What can I do right now? If the system needs to be changed in order for me to live a better life, then what I have to do is sit here and wait for a system that you're saying is against me to all of a sudden wake up one day and be like, you know what, I'm not going to be against him anymore. If that's what I have to wait for, I might be waiting forever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So what I'm trying to do is like, yeah, there are obstacles, but there are obstacles for everybody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter where you at in the world. Like, that's one of the problems that I see that's going on right now is like, we don't teach people to overcome your issues. We teach people that, hey, life should be roses. It's like a yellow brick rose should just be laid out for you at the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow and all this type of stuff. And that's not reality. So everybody has issues. Everybody has something they have to overcome. It's not necessarily what happens to you. It's what you do in response to what happens to you. And so that's what I'm trying to get these guys to understand. If it's your dad, you know, if your reason why you went to prison and you keep committing crimes is because you wasn't raised with a father and you 40 years old, are you going to wait for your dad to come back and raise you? I mean, what is he going to take you outside and play catch with you and sit you on his lap and tell you about the birds and the bees?
Right.
I'm just saying, like, this is ridiculous. We have to be grown men and say, okay, look, this happened. Now let's move forward.
Right. At some point, people have to take accountability, but we can't even get to the accountability part when, like you said, they're not teaching people to fight through, have adversity, because you have to have, I mean, you're going to have challenges in life, and are you either going to live or exist